I did not like Jim Carrey as Robotnik for the first two movies. I didn't. I think he's funny, and I think that he adds a dynamic to the character that is not there, that makes it more of a movie. But I don't really think of Robotnik as this like goofy, like I feel like Jim Carrey's just like what you said, is just playing Jim Carrey as Robotnik, right? Yeah. It'd be no different if I was to expect The Rock to play Robotnik. I wouldn't expect him to act like Robotnik. I would expect him to be The Rock, and he'd run in there with his goggles and pecs and be like, "I'll crush you, hedgehog." I don't expect him to
That's
play.
like Captain America, Eggman, right there.
I don't expect him to play Robotnik, but in the third movie of Sonic, he was very entertaining, and because he was playing two different roles, I think it made it a much it added a layer of humor that I was not expecting. And there is one scene in particular. It's a dancing scene in the movie.
I've seen the short or the TikTok shorts or whatever it is. I've seen. I think one of my friends sent me that. Yeah, it was good.
He crushed it.
Yeah,
absolutely crushed it. I'd fuck him after that.
Yeah. More cushion for the pushing, you know what I mean? You know what? But listen, all right, you know what? I feel like the Sonic movie kind of, I'm glad it's there, but I feel like it's a kids movie, first of all.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I watch it is for Eggman. I think he's perfect. Personally, I don't know how you don't like Jim. Like, that's the only reason I watch it is for Jim Carrey as Robotnik.
Don't get me wrong, I like Jim Carrey. I just don't see him as the first two movies. I did not see him as Eggman. He redeemed himself in the third movie. He did fantastic.
You don't like the slow transition from Jim Carrey as he's slowly becoming Eggman. I love it. I love it. I thought that was genius. You're kind of seeing him evolve into Eggman. I think maybe that's what you're not seeing. He's like he's turning into that. Now I still have to see the third one, but no. But besides that, dude, the acting is god awful. The fucking why are the humans even in there? Why is mom and dad there? Just cheesy most. No, stop. But overall, the movie's bad. But it's also a kids movie, so I kind of give it slack. So it's like, I give it a mid-range.
The second Sonic movie was arguably the better one of the two, in my opinion. But there was some scenes in there, like there was like 30-40 minutes dedicated to the human side and this like wedding and everything. And I was like, what is going on? And like, they really crushed it with the third movie because they know that it's a joke, and you can tell that gamers are making the movie because they put in like such cheesy stuff in there.
What other movies? Well, what other video game movie TV shows adaptations? Because I can't think of any more.
So aside from that, I thought the Silent Hill movies were pretty good. World of Warcraft was pretty good. TV shows, I'd have to really mull my head over.
The best of the best. Does it get better than Arcane or Castlevania? At least I would think Castlevania actually beats World of Warcraft. The first season of Castlevania beats the World of Warcraft movie. At least if I'm making like a tier list in my head, I would have to put Arcane one up there. But that's also because whoever made it was also just very good at whatever doing their job. Because like you don't have to know the video game to enjoy the movie. You know, it covers a bunch of wide range topics and stuff like that. Like Sonic, it's just because it's your childhood. It's Sonic. You're taking your kids there. And then, of course, then there's Jim Carrey playing. I don't know when the last movie Jim Carrey's been in, but it's also been the return of that actor as well. I think that's why people watch it. They're not watching it because, like, oh, not only is this nostalgia, this is actually a good movie. No, people aren't going, I want to watch Sonic 3 again. You know, me, I watched Arcane twice over, and
the second season or just the first and second?
First and second. I've watched over twice, and I've caught a lot of things that I didn't catch the first time. And I was like, or a different view on things that I didn't catch the first time. That's when you know you're watching a good movie. When you catch and watch things that you didn't do the first time, and that's when you know you have a good movie.
Let's take a look at this list real quick.
Just to give us a little bit extra help, brought up a couple right here. Detective Pikachu, I liked
that movie too. It came out of nowhere. Did you even know that movie was coming out whenever the movie came out?
Didn't like it.
Really?
I can't even.
Why did you like
I watched it and I can't remember it. So that's how I know it's at least for my opinion bad movie. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
If I forgot about it,
it looked like legit. Like all Pokemon.
The Super Mario
real.
one was good, and you're right. I forgot about that one, but I do remember that one. It was good.
I think one that I really like that really falls off hard
Oh yes, it
Resident
does.
Evil.
But Resident Evil, at least the first 1 or 2, maybe 3,
Yeah, I
I
agree.
really like those movies.
Yeah, the first one was even the first one was way off, but you're right, and then it just turns into a fucking fever dream of and then eventually turns into it's almost
It's
like
so
the
bad,
Fast
but-
and Furious. It just turns into
Yes.
a
Oh, it
superhero
is
movie.
exactly like Fast and
Yes.
Furious.
It just
Maybe
gets
the Fast
worse
and
and
Furious
worse and
stole their
worse.
idea from Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I didn't-
One I love that I'm gonna get crucified for.
I
Five
did.
Nights at Freddy's, dude.
Oh man, is
I-
this movie good?
I
though?
thought it was good. No, listen.
I did not watch. I really can't
I
give an
did,
opinion
and-
on it.
And what did you like about it before I start giving you
What I
conclusion?
really liked about it was the retelling of the story, because there's so many different lore bits of this, and I think to boil it down into a cohesive narrative, they did a great job. I think showing that they were children in those things, that there's a duality of like danger and also childhood involved with that, and that the real villain at the end of the day is the purple guy, not them. I think they did a great job with that. And like we keep talking about the human elements sucking in these movies that are typically just used to pad out the length of the movie, I think the human elements actually add to this movie, not take away from it, which is very rare for these kinds of movies.
I think the big disconnect for me on this movie, and I agree with what a lot you're saying, where the human elements were actually a big boon to it, right? It kind of had to be that way. I don't think I ever felt like the animatronics were a threat in the entire movie.
Really?
Yeah, I know they were a threat to some people, but I don't really like. They were just like hanging out and playing fucking patty cake and shit with these robots. They should like. I didn't really get a sense of fear or danger from them. And so like, let me put it to you this way: if I was to not play the video games at all, and the only thing I had to go off of whether or not I should be afraid of these things is the opening cinematic, there was no real reason to be afraid of these creatures if you don't have any familiarity with the Five Nights at Freddy's series. And I think that's its biggest flaw.
I almost wish that they did it from the perspective of Purple Guy instead of the Night Guard. Like, I almost wish that it was like that whole narrative of like Purple Guy getting tortured over and over in hell. Like, I wish it was like the animatronics are coming for him, and you find out halfway through the reason why they're coming for him because he's the one that did it. Yeah. And then you kind of end up hating the protagonist, and he dies, and you're like, yeah, screw that guy. That would have been a cool.
But they wanted it to be a reveal. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what kind of defeated it in the end. And sorry, I don't want to spoil the Five Nights at Freddy's movies for you, Dom.
I don't know what they're talking about. Didn't play the game, didn't watch the movie.
Oh man,
wow. You have never played a Five Nights at Freddy's game?
Nope. I've seen by being on the bed with your girlfriend and her watching Markiplier or somebody else playing. That's the only like visual I've seen.
Dude, you're like 3 degrees away from it. Wait, you're watching somebody play the game.
Exactly. or game theorists talking about it, but then I zone out and then they're like, I'm gonna go do something else. You know what I mean?
All right, well, now let's play. Download Five Nights at Freddy's. Get Dom the house. I'm joking. Let's kind of speed run some of these other ones
let's
here.
see if there's any other ones.
Hitman movies suck.
All terrible. They're all terrible.
pretty bad.
The Doom movie, that was so funny.
It's so bad, bro.
But hold on, there was a really redeemable scene in there.
Yes,
where
I know.
At the very end, man, when they went the retro classic and they were going through it, murdering people like from first person view. That was a good fan service right there, and I think that really redeemed it.
Looking at the Pokemon again, now I don't count the animated one as a serious take on Pokemon, but are we not upset that the first like real high budget and Pokemon movie that we got was fucking shitty Pikachu detective? Like, we want a real Pokemon movie, right? And we got detective.
I don't even know where that idea came from, but what I will say
because
is
it's cute.
Yeah, it is cute and it sells stuff. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
like,
I think a detective movie is easier to build a plot around than collecting 8 gym badges and challenging the Elite Four, or even taking down Team Rocket.
It doesn't have to do that. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
They did a new animation for the.
It'd be a hard one to put in.
They did a new animation for the original Pokemon movie, like an updated one. It's like a faithful recreation of it.
Yes,
fantastic. I would highly recommend that you watch that if you've not watched it yet.
I don't know. Make the movie about overcoming challenges, like Ash losing his first try or something like that. Yeah. You could do something. Come on.
You would have to be like moving at a blitzing
about competition or something, you know.
Because you have to develop not only characters for your other companions, but for all the enemies and all the Pokemon. That's so many different entities that you have to build a relationship with. Yeah. Like, once you get to the 6th Pokemon, that's it. There's no more on the team. There's no more room. Because you can't fit them in the plot, right?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to think of a Pokemon. Didn't make the cut, loser. Get out.
Yeah, sorry, 300 Taurus. You're not involved in this shit.
Yeah. Think about the animal farming and discarding just to get that perfect eugenics Pokemon.
You're sitting here breeding Pikachu.
Eevee farming.
Yeah.
Just
Max static.
making the master race Pokemon.
I would love to see a Pokemon movie where it actually covered like that.
should be the
war.
villain.
No, like a war.
That should be
the Pokemon
Team
war.
Rocket eugenics
That would be
team,
good too.
dude.
Yeah.
That would be
The Pokemon 2000. That actually is like the villain. Is the guy who's collecting all the Pokemon. I don't know if you ever
Really?
picked up on that. Did you guys watch Pokemon 2000, the second
Yeah,
Pokemon
he was like
movie?
going out and trying to
No.
capture like
He's
Moltres
supposed to
and-
represent like the jaded adult who's just there with no relationship, whatever, is just trying to streamline, speed run, capture all the legendaries.
I was probably
He has
too,
this big ass airship who's invulnerable to everything.
I
Flying through
remember the
shit.
airship. This is the one with like the birds, Lugia and all them. Like
Yes.
Lugia's in it. Yeah, no.
Correct.
I was probably too young and stupid to pick up on it.
Yeah, he's
That
like,
was
I'm
right.
the collector.
Did you pick up that on that?
No, it was
when you were-
later watching
I
as
was
an
about to say,
adult.
I was like, damn, you
Correct.
were smart for your age. I was like,
Yeah. I didn't remember that at all. I was like, I like the file Pokemon.
I haven't seen that movie since but you know what, the first movie was the best because it taught me at a young lesson. It was almost like how terrible violence is. Just that scene where they're all just
I
bitch
know.
slapping each other. That tore at your soul as a kid of like
Yes.
About violence.
Like
and how
we're not
bad
that
it
different from each other and like being violent. Yeah.
That lesson did hit hard as a kid. They did a good job on that one. But the movie's still
The concept of
sucked and
death
boring.
too, right?
Yeah.
The concept of death, because
Yeah.
Ash basically died
Yeah.
there, right? Like he didn't die; he was like frozen or whatever.
No,
but,
he
like,
died. He was dead.
I mean, I don't.
They literally turned him into like freaking rock
I
with their blast.
who would have thought my introduction to death would be from the Pokemon movie?
Yeah. Death and violence.